All right, we are live on Bear Sheath Farm with your host, Levite Khan. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the reading. We today are doing Exodus or Shemoth chapters 21 through 25. Take care of something quick here. Got it. Okay. Did it quick too this time. Anyway, yeah. So after that, I'll do a small video of Mr. Burgundy and put his link down in there again. It's a short video, not like a short, thing with a rectangle, but it's got a full screen. Anyway, it's a hypocritical thing between, Biden and Trump and that. But that being said, rather than go on about that, and then we can talk a little bit if people so choose to type in and, basically confer. Anyway, let's do Exodus chapter 21, all 36 verses here, I believe. Welcome and shalom to Wilfred Witzke. All right, chapter 21. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. If he came in by himself, he should go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the door post, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. Okay, before I continue on, I know how harsh that sounds, but they were hard-hearted folks. Secondly, has it really changed today? We don't do it exactly that way in America, but anyway, we're slaves. Let's just be honest. Anyway, let's continue this on. Let's continue on with this. Verse 7. And if a man sell a servant to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as the men servants do. If she please not her master, who hath betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed. To sell her unto a strange nation he shall have no power, seeing he hath dealt deceitfully with her. And if he have betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. And if he do not these three unto her, then shall she go out free without money. Okay, we're talking about polygyny here. Polygamy, simply in English. So you get yourself another wife, you better be able to treat them fairly. All right, verse 12. He smiteth a man so that he die. He that smiteth a man so that he die shall be surely put to death. And if a man lie not in wait, but God deliver him into his hand, then I will appoint thee a place whither he shall flee. But if a man come presumptuously upon his neighbor to slay him with guile, thou shalt take him from mine altar, that he may die. And he that smiteth his father or his mother shall be surely put to death. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. And he that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. Okay, before I continue on to verse 18, I don't know really how to explain it. I know the Hebraic perspective. We can't do it now, and it's a good thing for me. I did repent. Okay, the parents who adopted me when I was an infant, they raised me, they fed me, they clothed me, they sheltered me, they educated me. Okay, and I was a pretty horrible son. Now, I repented later. We had a very good relationship, and I went to my home state of Minnesota and took care of my dad so he could spend his last, I didn't know how long it'd be, but it was 6.5 months where he had left so he could die in his own home that he'd worked hard for as a banker. They had all bought and paid for. And he didn't have to go to a nursing facility, a nursing home, because my mom could not do it on her own. She was going to put him into a nursing facility. My adopted sister called her up and talked her out of it. And I left Ohio, went to Minnesota. Now, as soon as Dad passed on, I moved in and was married with Deborah Hebrew Faith. So, that being said, folks, it turned out really well. It went from a curse to a blessing, from a cursing to a blessing. So I don't know how to explain all that. We do have grace today. We're not in the land. We can't just do, what do you mean? What do I mean? We can't just do things like this. And they had to make judgment calls anyway. And we'll eventually get to that down the road with Deuteronomy chapter 17. Anyway, let's continue on to verse 18. And if men strive together, and one smite another with a stone or with his fist, and he die not, but keepeth his bed, if he rise again and walk abroad upon a staff, then shall he that smote him be quit. Only he shall pay for the loss of his time, and shall cause him to be thoroughly healed. And if a man smite his servant or his maid with a rod, and he die under his hand, he shall be surely punished. Notwithstanding, maybe continue a day or two, he shall not be punished, for he is his money. Obviously, there were different categories, different levels of worth of people's status there too. And again, we're dealing with a stiff-necked, cold-hearted people. So, just so you know, I don't try to hide that stuff. I don't try to work around it. Let's be honest, we have scummy people today that are pretty much worthless, folks, and the earth would be just this much lighter without them. I hate saying that. I mean, it's a hard subject to discuss, isn't it? So that being said, let's continue on. Look, Yeshua addresses this too in the Gospels and that about how they were hard-hearted when the Pharisees and all them. Yeah, I'm going to be bringing him up. Don't you worry, Lindsay, or Wilfred. Anyway, verse 22, if men strive and hurt a woman with child so that her fruit depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, he shall be surely punished according as the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. I'm going to get into that too in a little bit. And if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burning for burning, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. Okay, another Jew and I, another guy who, in fact, he was raised more Jewish than I. My adopted family, I was raised Lutheran. But sticking to the subject, we were arguing one day, and I went along with it because he was starting to say, oh, no, there's no way I could take you. And he probably can't because of my training. I don't know, maybe he can, but who cares? He said, what if I was to come after you and, we get in a fight, Deborah Hebrew Faith grabs him by his family area. Well, if you're talking that we're being foolish, we're in a bar doing something like that, or on the street, or, according to the Torah, yeah. Deborah Hebrew Faith needs to lose her hand. The point I brought up when you go to Deuteronomy 17, starting with verse 8 especially, I have no trespassing signs here. I have a gate. Yeah, you can walk around it and all that kind of crap, but it's pretty legal. It's shut. It doesn't matter if it's even shut. Sometimes I open it anyway for whatever reasons. I had to today when we went grocery shopping. I open it when I take the dogs for a walk and come back. I shut it again, but the point is you don't just have the free legal stipend to just come and walk into my property. When I start reading again, it'll be verse 26 of Exodus chapter 21. And welcome and shalom to Haas. But let's say if that guy did come to my place and I tell him, hey, John Doe, I'm telling you now, don't not cross that gate. Do not get onto my property. In fact, he's on my property before he even goes across the gate. But I'm willing to give some grace and say, look, you just get out of here. Leave the gravel area, go back onto the road. Don't come onto the gate. Say if he does. He's got signs. He's got my word of mouth. I've got a witness named Deborah Hebrew Faith. And more than likely, Deborah Hebrew Faith is going to be recording it on her tablet anyway. And he just does that. And we're fighting. And let's say he's beating my hide. Okay. And Deborah Hebrew Faith does her thing to help me out. No, I don't think she should lose her hand over that. See, not everything's so black and white. All right, let's continue on with Exodus chapter 21, verse 26. And if a man smite the eye of his servant or the eye of his maid that it perish, he shall let him go free for his eye's sake. And if he smite out his man servant's tooth or his maid servant's tooth, he shall let him go free for his tooth's sake. If an ox gore a man or a woman that they die, then the ox shall be surely stoned, and its flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the ox shall be quit. But if the ox were wont to push with his horn in time past, and it hath been testified to his owner, and he hath not kept him in, but that he hath killed a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and his owner also shall be put to death. Well, before we go on to verse 30, that's called responsible pet ownership, isn't it? I have 3 big, powerful dogs, I guarantee you. Now, if you come onto my property and I can't, while I'm trying to get out here with my fists or my tool, I want them to do their jobs. That's legal. There's nothing legally manipulative about that. And they'll let me know. Definitely. Okay. Verse 30. And if there be laid on him a sum of money, then he shall give for the ransom. Bleh. Sorry about my tongue and teeth here. If there be laid on him a sum of money, then he shall give for the ransom of his life whatsoever is laid upon him, whether he have gored a son or gored a daughter, according to this judgment shall it be unto him. If the ox shall push a manservant or maidservant, he shall give unto their master 30 shekels of silver, and that ox shall be stoned. And if a man shall open a pit, or if a man shall dig a pit and not cover it, and an ox or an ass fall therein, the owner of the pit shall make it good and give money unto the owner of them, and the dead beast shall be his. And if one man's ox hurt another's that he die, then they shall sell the live ox and divide the money of it, and the dead ox also they shall divide. Or if it be known that the ox hath used to push in time past, and his owner hath not kept him in, he shall surely pay ox for ox, and the dead shall be his own. All right. That's all 36 verses of Exodus chapter 21. So suppose we should just keep it moving here to the next 31 verses of Exodus 22. If a man steal an ox or a sheep and kill it or sell it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. If a thief be found breaking up and be smitten that he die, there shall no blood be shed for him. If the sun be risen upon him, there shall be blood shed for him, for he should make full restitution. If he have nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. If the theft be certainly found in his hand alive, whether it be ox or ass or sheep, he shall restore double. If a man shall cause a field or vineyard to be eaten, and shall put in his beast, and shall feed in another man's field, of the best of his own field and of the best of his own vineyard, shall he make restitution. If fire break out and catch in thorns, so that the stacks of corn or the standing corn or the field be consumed therewith, he that kindled the fire shall surely make restitution. If a man shall deliver unto his neighbor money or stuff to keep, and it be stolen out of the man's house, if the thief be found, let him pay double. If the thief be not found, then the master of the house shall be brought unto the judges to see whether he have put his hand unto his neighbor's goods. For all manner of trespass, whether it be ox, for ass, for sheep, for raiment, or for any manner of lost thing which another challengeth to be his. The cause of both parties shall come before the judges, and whom the judges shall condemn, he shall pay double unto his neighbor. If a man deliver unto his neighbor an ass or an ox or a sheep or any beast to keep, and it die or be hurt or driven away, no man seeing it, then shall an oath of the Lord be between them both, that he hath not put his hand unto his neighbor's goods, and the owner of it shall accept thereof, and he shall not make it good. And if it be stolen from him, he shall make restitution unto the owner thereof. And if it be torn in pieces, then let him bring it for witness, and he shall not make good that which was torn. And if a man borrow aught of his neighbor, and it be hurt or die, the owner thereof not being with it, he shall surely make it good. But if the owner thereof be with it, he shall not make it good. If it be an hired thing, it came for his hire. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed, and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. Ugh. If her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Whosoever lieth with the beast shall surely be put to death. Amen. He that sacrificeth unto any good, save unto the Lord only, he shall be utterly destroyed. Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Ye shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child, if thou afflict them in any wise. And they cry at all unto me, I will surely hear their cry. And my wrath shall wax hot, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. If thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as an usurer, neither shalt thou shalt lay upon him usury. If thou at all take thy neighbor's raiment to pledge, thou shalt deliver it unto him by by that the sun goeth down, for that is his covering only, it is his raiment for his skin, therein shall he sleep. And it shall come to pass when he crieth unto me that I will hear, for I am gracious. Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the ruler of thy people. Thou shalt not delay to offer the first of thy ripe fruits and of thy liquors. The firstborn of thy sons shalt thou give unto me. Likewise shalt thou do with thine oxen and with thy sheep. 7 days it shall be with his dam. On the 8th day thou shalt give it me. Verse 30 there about the 8th day, that's a sign too of the new beginning. Genesis, the new Bereshith, and all of eternity for those of us who endure, just so you know. All right, verse 31. And ye shall be holy men unto me. Neither shall ye eat any flesh that is torn of beasts in the field. Ye shall cast it to the dogs. And that's all 31 verses of chapter 22. Let me talk about this a little bit, because earlier too, on another day, you know, we read about, you know, man lying with man, that's with a woman. Now we're reading about witches and you know, bestiality here and on and on. Look, these people were being fully informed, just to let you know. And I explained this to Matt Powell, official. I believe sometime in 2018, I met with him face to face at a hotel in Phoenix, Arizona, to do an interview. And I had it on my laptop. I said the only way I'm willing to do it is live, because he does clips, you know, with things like that. They would ask me a question, and then I'd have to ask it back, you know, to make sure that everybody heard it. I eventually caught on to that. But talking about what's going on right now, look, folks, if you have a son or a daughter, not you, but I mean, if there is a little child, a baby to up to 5 years old, barely past the toddler stage. And and that child is adopted by mommy and mommy, or daddy and daddy. They're never brought to a good congregation or a good group of people that meet up with a good sound English Bible. Well, we have a problem here. That little boy or girl is going to grow up to be a woman or a man, and they may not know any better. And we don't have these types of facilities. I know this. So keep in mind that I'm being very realistic here. But just for the sake of this discussion, that man or woman has been told, hey, this is a wicked lifestyle. We can prove it to you. And they put them in some kind of Bible boot camp, like a place for a couple years, 3 years, whatever. You can't really blame the now young man or woman in that. And you rehaul their belief system and give them a chance to get the truth. And then they decide, let's say they take to it and say, wow, this is evil. And they repent. They stop it. Because, obviously they're growing up to the same nonsensical BS evil of a lifestyle there. And great. But let's say if they do, they willingly and knowingly, especially when we've been putting all that time and money into them, giving them a place to sleep, a specific environment and setting to help them. We've been feeding them. We've been housing them. We've been teaching them, giving them good things all the way around, spiritually, physically. And that man or woman, young man or woman, decides, no, I want to continue being that way. In my eyes, it's over. As far as I'm concerned, we need to get rid of them. We can't do that. I will acknowledge that. We're in the United States. We're not allowed to. I get it. I'm just giving you my personal biblical educated opinion. Again, you go to Deuteronomy 17. I keep emphasizing that on more than just one subject that is not black and white, but it's pretty gray. And now if you have these couples, like say a scriptural judge decides that, okay, this adult couple, they've been doing this and they know better. They've been, you find out all the evidence. Hey, they're purposely doing this, thinking that all these things have been done away with. God has somehow changed, blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe it's time to get rid of them immediately, not even waste our time and money on them. Well, I thought about that too, Hoss, but, hopefully they'll leave this video alone. I thought, a very caring, loving video back in Florida, asking those people to change their ways in that. And I had Christians. It was an uploaded video, but I had Christians commenting, supposedly anyway, commenting down in the bottom, not liking what I had to say. And eventually YouTube, they took it down, saying it was hate video or something. That was during the Trump-Pence administration. There was sometime around there, 2020, I think, when the scamdemic came out. And they were really censoring things. I'm surprised it did stay up 5-6 days. I couldn't believe it. So I could believe it. I didn't really know how it would go. And I mean, they took it down like I kind of figured they would. But it took them a few days. And so anyway, I just thought I'd give you my spiel on this. And I do think think about things pretty profoundly and in detail. And I want to emphasize to you people that there are things that I think and believe, and maybe some of you do too, but we all know we can't carry this out yet. We're not allowed to do it. We're just not in those circumstances. It's like the Jews, my Jewish ancestors, being under Rome, they could only do their instructions to an extent. certain ones, and I shouldn't be itching again. But they did their Jewish. I like to call it the Hebraic, Israelite perspective. They did their Torah, what they were allowed to do only. That's why Yeshua was executed like he was. I know it was a kangaroo court. I get that. Please don't get into that with me. I know all that, but since they found him guilty, he should have either one, been stoned to death, or two, lit on fire, like Judah was going to do to his daughter-in-law. Just saying. So they had to go through Governor Pontius Pilate. Anyway, let's go on to chapter 23 of Exodus, shall we? Thou shalt not raise a false report. Put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak, and a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment. Neither shalt thou countenance a poor man in his cause. If thou meet thine enemy's ox or his ass going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again. If thou see the ass of him that hateth thee lying under his burden, and wouldest forbear to help him, thou shalt surely help with him. Thou shalt not wrest the judgment of thy poor in his cause. Keep thee far from a false matter, and the innocent and righteous slay thou not, for I will not justify the wicked. And thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise, and perverteth the words of the righteous. Also thou shalt not oppress a stranger, for ye know the heart of a stranger, seeing ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. And 6 years thou shalt sow thy land, and shalt gather in the fruits thereof. But the 7th year thou shalt let it rest, and lie still, and the poor thy people may eat, and what thee leave the beasts of the field shall eat. In like manner thou shalt deal with thy vineyard and with thy olive yard. 6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the 7th day thou shalt rest, that thine ox and thine ass may rest, and the son of thy handmaid, and the stranger may be refreshed. In all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. Okay, before going to verse 14, the prophets eventually had to give the names of those false gods, because that's exactly what the Israelites did. The prophets had to confront the Israelites in this nonsense, and otherwise, yeah, you're not supposed to even mention them. So, well, that's the King James for you there, Wilfred. Anyway, verse 14. 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded thee, in the time appointed of the month Abib, which should be Aviv. For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. In the feast of harvest, the first of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in thy labors out of the field. 3 times in the year all thy males shall appear before the Lord God. Thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until the morning. The first of the firstfruits of thy land thou shalt bring into the house of the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not see the kid in his mother's milk. Behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice, and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies, and an adversary unto thine adversaries. For mine angel shall go before thee, and bring thee in unto the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them, and quite break down their images. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. There shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in thy land. The number of thy days I will fulfill. I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come, and I will make all thine enemies turn their backs unto thee. And I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before thee. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beasts of the field multiply against thee. By little and little I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be increased and inherit the land, and I will set thy bounds from the Red Sea, even unto the sea of the Philistines, and from the desert unto the river, for I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and thou shalt drive them out before thee. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee. That's all 33 verses of chapter 23 of Exodus. You can compare this to 2 John. We're not supposed to let this into in this case now, into my home. I will not let false doctrines or houses or anything. Well, if you can point that out to me where there's any scripture that we're not supposed to hate the sinner. That's a pun made up by a Hinduist named Gandhi, by the way. Love the sinner, hate the sin. Gandhi came up with that. I'm not saying it's bad. I think in a lot of cases he's right. There are certain cases, folks, I think you have every right to hate a person. Hopefully it won't unsub me, but if you do, so be it. No, it's not. I can give the scriptures to you. You cannot give me that scripture because it doesn't exist. Just so you know. Sorry. I didn't say seek revenge. That's not what I'm saying. That woman who coveted my family, she stole my wife's son. The law and the DCFS helped her. They're just as guilty. They're the law too, unofficially. She tried to groom him, by the way. She's never repented. I ended up doing 2 years of probation. I don't have a felony officially because adjudication was withheld. I need to give my testimony. And then, her true face came out and she treated the boy like crap, trying to show him his sex toys and stuff, or she did. I don't know how far she got with it, but he's apologized to me since. He doesn't have any contact with her. And I'm not seeking revenge. I'm just saying, you really think I'm supposed to? And here's what makes her more responsible. She's a King James only believer. She's a Bible believer, supposedly. I'm not King James onlyist. I'm just an advocate. But my point is, I don't really want to get into this. I understand where you're coming from, Hoss. I get it. But we'll be going over scriptures as we continue to read and down the road. And David hated his people who hated his God. God hates the doers of iniquity. On and on. He hated Esau. Anyway, let's continue on to chapter 24, shall we? And he said unto Moses, Come up unto the Lord, thou and Aaron and Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. Those are the two that get smoked later, aren't they? Verse 2, And Moses alone shall come near the Lord, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord, and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice and said, All the words which the Lord hath said will we do. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rose up early in the morning, and builded an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, All that the Lord has said will we do, and be obedient. Okay, now we went over two more verses, as I said yesterday we would do. We went over Exodus 19, verse 8, where they all basically said that they would do it. We just went over chapter 24, verses 3 and 7. So they're committed. They had the choice to commit or not, or walk away. We are connected to this contract, to this covenant. Verse 8, and Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant, which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words. Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 elders of Israel. And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of a sapphire stone, and as it were, the body of heaven in its clearness. And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand. Also they saw God, and did eat and drink. And the Lord said unto Moses, come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law, and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moses went up into the mount of God, and he said unto the elders, tarry ye here for us until we come again unto you, and behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto them. And Moses went up into the mount, and a cloud covered the mount. And the glory of the Lord abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And the seventh day he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. And the sight of the glory of the Lord was like devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. And Moses went into the midst of the cloud and gat him up into the mount. And Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. Does he always, that's all 18 verses, chapter 24. Does he always give a sinner a chance to repent? Or does he help him believe a lie at times? Get into an argument with a subber, that's fine. I have no problem differing with people. I'm cool with it. Go to Isaiah chapter 66. We call it Yeshayahu in Hebrew. Chapter 66, verse 4. Let's read that. I also will choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them. Because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear. But they did evil before mine eyes and chose that in which I delighted not. Now read the first 3 verses to get more of the context. Well, he helps them. Got it right here. I'll choose their delusions. And I know Paul is controversial. I'm okay with his writings. I have no real big issue. And I also realized he was dealing with a country over him called Rome. A lot of people don't understand that, who say about Paul. But chapter 2 of Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, verses 10, 11, and 12. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned, who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. He's not just letting them, he's helping them. We can go to Romans 1 for that matter. I did that the other day. All right. I've made my point enough, I think. Well, let's do all 40 verses of chapter 25 and then move on to a little conversation. And I'll play a video. Then we'll talk about good old warmongering neocon Lindsey Graham a little bit. Anyway, chapter 25. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring me an offering. Of every man that giveth it willingly, with his heart ye shall take my offering. And this is the offering which ye shall take of them: gold and silver and brass, and purple, and blue and purple and scarlet, and fine linen and goat's hair, and ram skins dyed red, and badger skins and shittim wood, oil for the light, spices for anointing oil, and for sweet incense, onyx stones, and stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate, and let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them, according to all that I show thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall ye make it. And they shall make an ark of shittim wood, 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, within and without shalt thou overlay it, and shalt make upon it a crown of gold round about. Verse 12, and thou shalt cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them in the 4 corners thereof, and 2 rings shall be in the one side of it, and 2 rings in the other side of it. And thou shalt make staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold, and thou shalt put the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark, that the ark may be borne with them. The staves shall be in the rings of the ark, they shall not be taken from it. And thou shalt put into the ark the testimony which I shall give thee, and thou shalt make a mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And thou shalt make 2 cherubims of gold, of beaten work. Thou shalt thou make them in the 2 ends of the mercy seat, and make 1 cherub on the one end, and the other cherub on the other end. Even of the mercy seat shall ye make the cherubims on the 2 ends. And the cherubims shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings, and their faces shall look one to another toward the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubims be. And thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark, and in the ark thou shalt put the testimony that I shall give thee. And there I will meet with thee, and I will commune with thee from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubims which are upon the ark of the testimony of all things which I will give thee in commandment unto the children of Israel. Thou shalt also make a table of shittim wood. 2 cubits shall be the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, and make thereto a crown of gold round about. And thou shalt make unto it a border of an handbreadth round about, and thou shalt make a golden crown to the border thereof round about. And thou shalt make for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings in the 4 corners that are on the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border shall the rings be for places of the staves to bear the table. And thou shalt make the staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold, that the table may be borne with them. And thou shalt make the dishes thereof, and spoons thereof, and covers thereof, and bowls thereof, to cover withal. Of pure gold shalt thou make them, and thou shalt set upon the table showbread before me always. And thou shalt make a candlestick of pure gold, of beaten work shall the candlestick be made. His shaft and his branches, his bowls, his knops, and his flowers shall be of the same. And 6 branches shall come out of the sides of it. 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side. 3 bowls made like unto almonds, with a knop and a flower in one branch, and 3 bowls made like almonds in the other branch, with a knop and a flower. So in the 6 branches that come out of the candlestick. And in the candlestick shall be 4 bowls made like unto almonds, with their knops and their flowers. And there shall be a knop under 2 branches of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches that proceed out of the candlestick. Their knops and their branches shall be of the same, and it shall be one beaten work of pure gold. And thou shalt make the 7 lamps thereof, and they shall light the lamps thereof, that they may give light over against it. And the tongs thereof and the snuff dishes thereof shall be of pure gold. Of a talent of pure gold shall he make it with all these vessels. And look that thou make them after their pattern, which was showed thee in the mount. And that's all 40 verses of chapter 25 of Exodus. It's, 10:29 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Hope everyone's doing well. We have done 15, and 15 days of reading, 5 chapters a day on the average. We've done the first 75 chapters out of the 187 chapters, I believe it is, of the Torah. So, anyway, been kind of a rainy, miserable day here. Oh, I don't know. They're kind of illegitimate anyway, Wilfred. I mean, I hate saying that about my own, Jewish counterparts, but that's the pentagram they got on there, and that needs to go. That'd be a good start. Something that is taken off. Just saying. So, I'm trying to get my head together here a little bit, folks. Let me take a look. Kind of looking at this stuff, and I know I've been talking off and on with people and explaining things, at least my point of view, and I don't think I'm using eisegesis at all. That being said, I don't know what should be on the Israel flag. Maybe a Torah scroll. That'd be a good start. Take off that pentagram that they call the Star of David, and because it's not. We don't even know what the star. It's not described. I mean, all the detail I just read there about that with the tabernacle and that, that's detail. And an architect and all those people and builders, they can picture that more easily than I can. I'm educated, but I'm not. I didn't go to college. I did, but I didn't go to college for architecture. But I don't remember reading anything about what the actual Star of David is supposed to look like. So maybe just, start out with a guy like who has Levitical garb like I do, and can do something like this. And there, my Levitical garb is in a storage space in another state. No, I don't think I did. I'll scroll up here. But that being said, when I'm looking at this, I'm going, well, how do I, with the, like I said, the guy doing this, like I've done it before. I know the Aaronic blessing in that. I'm a little rusty at that stuff, but I mean, I can do it. And have a Torah scroll or something. That'd be a good thing to have on a flag, I think. Let me look at something here. Okay. So, okay, you'd made a comment about a Holocaust documentary. I hate Satan and his followers. That's you. The Father created a lake of fire for a reason. And there you are in between Hoss. There he lets them choose their destiny. Maybe a rainbow, LOL. That's what you just put in. I guess I'll have to scroll up a little bit. I hate Satan and his... Okay, hold on. I'm trying to find you. They should replace the word thou with you. Yeah. That's a little more current. A lot of the King James language is archaic. But you know what? It helps you with your reading skills. Talking about what happened to me in generality, what I just did, discussing with Haas. Years before that, I taught that kid how to read. I upped his level real quick. I'm not taking all the credit and glory goes to Elohim, don't get me wrong. But when he was 10, 11 years old, along with his 4th grade teacher, I used the King James Bible anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes a night before he'd go to bed. I was in my home state, Minnesota, yet. Years. Yeah. 2017, like over 9 years ago now. Hey, Hoss. Lindsey Graham. I don't see anything about your... I don't see anything, unless you're talking about another day where you commented. Europa. Did you mean Europe? EUROPE, and that's just a typo, maybe. The Last Battle is called on BitChute. Oh, it's on BitChute. Would it be on Rumble as well? Maybe, I don't know. I'll look it up. Europe: The Last Battle. Hold on. I'll just open up another window. I'll take a look at it. There we go. BitChute. Okay. Let me look at you again. Europa. Okay, fine. I'll type it in that way. Europa: The Last Battle. Okay. Go back to BitChute. I use BitChute, but not very much. I use Rumble more. I use YouTube the most. But the two, I read a lot of articles and stuff. Okay, Europa: The Last Battle, all 10 parts, complete, and ... I'm not gonna click into it now. It's oh good Lord, it's over 12 hours, 22 minutes, and 54 seconds. And you can do the parts, thank God. Where's part 1? Okay, parts 1 and 2, 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 28 seconds. Okay. I might need to take a look at that. Now, since it's on BitChute, I would presume, I'm back to where I can see you guys again. I would presume that, is it in more detail, a little more gory and blah, blah, blah? I hope. Because YouTube will even blot things out now or what do you call it? Phase things out, where you cover it with a circle thing and it's blurred. It's blurred. Oh, don't tell Deb I'm doing this. I think she's sleeping. Anyway, oh man, that poison. She's got to treat me later, and she's making cheeseburgers tonight, folks. Should I invite Bill Gates? It's censored even on. Yeah, they censor it. I understand that, and they even edit. But I'm wondering if on Rumble and BitChute, they show pretty much everything, and that's why I even watch when like fictional movies. I did watch one last night on Tubi TV, and yes, it's edited like TV, but at least they don't cover the stuff. What do you mean, not BitChute? It's not. Oh, they don't censor it, right? So yeah, I would think that they wouldn't. I don't know. Just let me know. Okay. Now that I've looked into that, and I do have it on in another window. Trump misspoke. We all do it. I've done it. I remember when people used to make clips of me, and I misspeak or something, or my tongue would go awry like it does sometimes now with a lack of teeth, and I'd correct myself. And some jackweasel would go ahead and play a video and put just that clip in to try and make me look bad, But I'm not sticking up for Trump. I keep saying that. I'm really not. But let's be honest. He's a lot more. He always was more intelligent than Joe Biden, even back when Biden was lucid. And there's no comparison now. You can't even do an accurate IQ test on somebody like Biden now. Anyway, let's get this in. You got to watch this nonsense. This is the crap that, blatantly tried to hide from us for 4 years, acting like he was just this brilliant man running left and right, and couldn't keep up with him. He was so energetic. I remember, look, I'll give you a little piece of information. When I used to work geriatrics, and I'm not saying this is all the time, but it's usually the rule, generally speaking. When you have somebody who's that out in left field, I don't care if it's Alzheimer's, senile dementia, degenerative brain disease, maybe a combination, or that other one I think that Bruce Willis has. I don't remember the name of that now. But they have all very similar behaviors or habits. They have different. What I mean by that is when I was still kind of naive. I was still fairly new in the field yet. And this guy who had Alzheimer's, he got up, and I had to take care of him all the time. The way he got up and with his the way this guy got up and walked with his depends on, a more vulgar name would be diapers, adult diapers. And anyway, I gotta stop this. He when he got up the way he did and walked away, you knew he had probably dumped his pants in his depends. It was the rule 99% of the time. Well, that one time on CNN when President Biden was on that, and there were a couple of other times I saw where he got up the way he did, common sense tells me he dumped his pants. I'm not stupid. Because this girl, well, this lady a little older than me at the time, I was in my 20s, she was in her 30s, and she had been in the field for a while compared to me at that time. She's like, okay, so-and-so got up the way he did, you better take him back to his room and into the restroom. I think he dumped his pants. Well, I did, and yes, he had. And I'm not laughing. It's not funny when they're incontinent like that, but that's elderly abuse. I mean, these people that did that kind of crap and trying to hide it, thinking that, oh, no, there's nothing wrong with them. You don't have to have my education and experience to know these things. Come on. But then they want to get on Trump. When Trump would make fun of him during his rallies during those 4 years, then the libtard media would try to make it look like Trump was the one who was half out left field. And they, what do they take us for? I mean, they think they're better than us. And anyway, I've done enough complaining for now. Let's play this video. You got to see this nonsense.
We have an aircraft carrier, which is one of the most beautiful in the world. It's one of the biggest, the Abraham Lincoln. And 2 months ago, we had 100, I told this story yesterday, we had 111 missiles shot by the Islamic Republic of Japan.
Islamic Republic of Japan.
Close, but no cigar.
It wasn't just 2,000, 4,000. We would have to significantly increase the number of troops, and we were back in this war of attrition. And there was no way we were ever going to unite Ukraine. I mean, excuse me, Iraq, Afghanistan.
Well, which is it, young feller?
And now that we are back together here in Cambodia, I look forward to building even stronger progress than we've already made. And I want to thank the Prime Minister for Colombia's leadership. And Al-Qaeda is degraded in Iraq and Afghanistan.
That will form America's first, or Africa's first.
We are going to stick with Ukraine, and all of the alliance are going to stick with Ukraine as long as it takes to, in fact, make sure that they are not defeated by Ukraine. In Vietnam, in Iraq.
The United States, Japan, Austria, Australia, and India.
Of our response to NATO's to Russia's aggression that binds the Republic of Korea and the United States together. Putin decides he's going to just invade Russia.
You gotta be shitting me, Joker.
But we shouldn't have gone into Ukraine. I mean, we shouldn't have gone into the whole thing in Iraq. Convinced the significant Russian America of the Russian people in Glasgow, England, Scotland. The Ukrainians decide that. Of Switzerland, my goodness, I'm getting really anxious here about expanding NATO. Sweden, China continues climate continues to change across Europe, Africa.
My brain is like oatmeal.
There's DNA. Then there's heavy-duty DNA.
don't know what to say. Let's look for something with Lindsey Graham. And I am not crying over anything with that. Now, I didn't hate Lindsey by any stretch. But he's a warmonger. He's like a little Bush, little Quayle, little late Dick Cheney, who, Cheney was on my thing yesterday. Good riddance. I mean, I hate to say that, but
And we begin with the sudden passing of Senator Lindsey Graham. The medical examiner's preliminary findings suggest the 71-year-old likely died from an aortic rupture. Flags were flown at half-staff today at the White House in his honor.
And tributes continue to pour in from political leaders across the nation and world. Our Jagruti Dave has the details.
Tonight, world leaders and American politicians are honoring the life of South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Graham died suddenly Saturday night, his office only revealing it was a brief and sudden illness.
EMS 6 response to 87 Medic 7 with cardiac arrest.
Emergency medical responders worked to stabilize a man at Graham's home Saturday night and transported him to the hospital. A statement from Graham's office said the family appreciated prayers and was asking for privacy at this time.
If you want to have more accountability, count me in.
After being a longtime critic of President Trump, Graham became one of the president's closest allies.
He was tough and smart, and that's where I got to know him.
Graham traveled with President Trump to Turkey for the NATO summit and had just returned home from a meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky in Ukraine. Zelensky reacting tonight by saying in part, quote, Lindsey was a true defender of freedom and the values that make our world safer.
He had already landed. He was probably at his place. I don't know where he was, but I spoke to him, and then I got a call a few hours later saying, late in the evening at 2 o'clock in the morning, actually.
Lindsey Graham was one of the Republican Party's leading voices on foreign policy and national security. He was also a champion for Israel.
He was a wonderful, wonderful friend, a great American patriot, and a great champion of the Israel-American alliance, and I'll miss him personally a lot.
Serving more than 3 decades in Congress, Graham was running for re-election. South Carolina's governor will appoint a temporary replacement. His death narrows the Republicans' majority in the Senate, where they had held a 53-47 edge, and leaves an important vacancy at the Senate Budget Committee, where Graham was chairman. Well, the race is on for South Carolina Republicans to select Lindsey Graham's successor in time for November's midterms. With a special election due in August, US President Donald Trump told NBC's Meet the Press he already has a candidate in mind, but didn't want to talk about names at this time. The winner of that race will face the Democratic nominee Annie Andrews for what is widely considered a safe Republican seat.
All right. I'll put those 2 links in to keep myself protected. Oh, yeah. No doubt, Hoss. No doubt about it. I mean, what's there to say? I mean, look, these people aren't really that much different. I met John Thune. He's tall. He's got to be taller than President Trump. I don't know. I mean, when they stand beside each other, he looks like he's a tad bit more, tall. Trump is a tall guy. I mean, I'm 5'6", and when I met John Thune, he wasn't a senator yet. He was running, and he beat back then Senator incumbent Tom Gassel. I think that was in 2003, one of the parks in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and he was political. He said what had to be said. But that being said, I've been around politicians off and on throughout my life, and small, big fishes, big fish. Or as the King James would say, big fishes in tiny little ponds. I mean, proper English today would be big fish. Look, think about it. If the Democrats were to get power, and they may very well, I hope not, but they may. I'm not sticking up for the GOP. They have no sack. But Graham would go along with the Democrats if he was still with us. I mean, he did before. He was a big critic of Trump. He'd probably be one again. And when Kevin McCarthy took over and beat Nancy Pelosi for the Speaker of the House, his true rhino self came out. They replaced him with Mike Johnson. And if anybody remembers or kept track of that, it was still during the Biden-Harris administration. Mike Johnson went along with everything. And now he's going along, sticking up for Trump. These people are they're jokes. They're jack weasels. I'd like to use some other words, but people get offended. Well, I don't have my screen on, do I? Hold on. I just yeah. And I saw the way Lindsey Graham, when he'd be on the plane with Trump, and the way he'd be looking up at him, like he almost looked like he was ready to get on his callous knees and blow Trump. I mean, it was so sickening to watch. I hated it. No, I do not. I mean, I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for them. I mean, he has people that loved him and cared for him and whatever. And, now how he died, I don't know. I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories yet, if ever. And these people who go running around saying the crap that they do, if they can substantiate it, fine, great. Yeah, I know. I don't like any of those guys, but what are we supposed to do? I mean, praise the Lord that Hillary lost to Trump back in 2016. Oof. From what I understand, she would have been picking a fight with Russia, with Putin. A big mistake. I mean, she would have been picking fights with Xi Jinping of China, and she's more with it. Now, she's not as brilliant as people think, but she is a lot more. She always was more intelligent than Biden ever was. I remember back when she was the first lady, when it was the Clinton-Gore administration. I'm old enough to talk about that. I actually voted for Clinton-Gore, to be honest. I never liked back then First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton. I couldn't stand her, to be honest. I never liked Vice President Al Gore. But, I mean, why am I talking about it? It's just, we're kind of on our own. We need to read and pray. I keep emphasizing that. I'm going to sound like a broken record there, ladies and gents. I'm not, we need to look to Elohim. I've already said this. I talked about it because I'm not some porn freak. I could care less about it really on a personal level. And I think it's a big problem and it needs to be dealt with. But I did, for research purposes, look up what Rob Reed gave me for information in the side chat talking about First Lady Melania Trump. And she's there and she's not only showing herself, very light porn, I think is what they would consider, but also light porn or whatever they want to call it, with where she's beside another woman. And that's an abomination. I mean, so I just think we need to do what we need, whatever Elohim allows us to do, to be prepared spiritually, mentally, physically. But that being said, folks, Lindsey Graham is gone. It's just that way. He didn't make it very long. I mean, I guess you make it 70, you're living on borrowed time from what I can ascertain. I'll sell in chapter 90. Yeah. He didn't make it to a man of strength. Trump did. June 14th, he just turned 80. For whatever reasons, Elohim had enough, or maybe took him home. I don't. It's not for me to decide. I guess I don't. It is what it is, and I'm not the decider. I'm grateful that Elohim gave me a gift, bought me at a price, something that I don't deserve, and it's up to me to take it from here. I'm not a 5-point tulip boy, that's for sure. Destiny. I mean, it's in there, the word predestined, and so there you got to deal with it. But really, I have free choice on a limited basis with what I've learned and whatever, and it's up to me to take it from there and to grow. And Elohim will honor that. I think he is. And I do have a very difficult time dealing with things, folks. I mean, I was just having it earlier because of Florida and what happened to me. It happened to Deb. It was just as hard on her. Harder, actually, because it was her kids, not mine. Thank God it was me that had to deal with the legalities. She was right by my side the whole time. And I still, when I think about it, it just gets a blood pressure, So there are things I need to deal with, and I need to keep taking it to God. But we've been out of that for a good while now. So anyway, I don't really have much more to say. I'm still trying to work on some things. Maybe, do a separate video. Oh, my wife is chastising me now. Isn't that nice? Yeah. No, but do a separate video and give you some information on things. Just to inform you. And then, of course, you can take it to prayer. See how it is applicable to you. I haven't seen Old Path type in tonight. I'm going to try to give him a call. Not tonight. It's getting a little late. It's just, it's 10:56 p.m. Eastern time. So, but I'll go ahead and probably get out of here now. And Deb's going to make us a late night dinner. We're going to have Billy's favorite cheeseburgers. So, that being said, folks, I hope y'all continue to do well. I do appreciate you coming in here. I don't mind the differences of opinion. Well, we can constructively discuss these things, agree to disagree, I guess, and thanks for the stuff that I'm thankful for the stuff that we're evenly yoked on and in agreement with. And continue to do this, and hopefully more people will join as time goes on. I mean, yeah, I'm in agreement with that statement there, Haas. I can't really argue with that one. I mean, I could, but I don't see any reason to. I don't argue out of pride. Trust me, I don't. I just, it's not something I've ever done. No, I correct it. It's not something I've done for a long time. I have done it in the past, and it's just stupidity on my part when I've done it. So that being said, folks, again, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching this, both live and pre-recorded. Thank you for typing into the chat for you people that were live. Continue to read your Bibles. Continue to read along with me, and or some of you who just listen and have constructive comments and comment questions and that. And let's continue this and band together, because the Levant man is heading out to eat and get something to eat and get some sleep. All right. Peace. Shalom. The man is out of here. Take care.